What is going on, Nuggets Nation, NBA fans? My name is Tom Leuthner. Welcome back into Nuggets Today, presented by Fan Arch. We have some things to cover. The first thing is the fact that there is an updated Christmas slate. Now, I know that I talked to you guys probably about a week or two ago about Denver not having a Christmas game because the original schedule said that Denver wasn't on there, but they are now playing on Christmas, which I think is great. The slate is actually pretty good. It has been leaked. So according to Shams, the official slate is now the Cavaliers at Knicks, the Spurs at Thunder, Rockets at Lakers, Mavs at Golden State, and Timberwolves at Nuggets, which I think is great. I think that the Timberwolves-Nuggets matchup recently, at least, has been very, one-sided, I guess you could say. The Timberwolves have the Nuggets number, and I think that this is the time where the Nuggets need to turn up and be able to go ahead and find out how to actually beat them, because it seems that the Nuggets haven't been able to beat them in the last couple of years. And I think that with this updated defensive system for the Nuggets, the updated coaching staff, the updated management, the updated roster in general, may be able to finally take down this Timberwolves team. Now, I know the Timberwolves team is pretty good. They didn't make any significant moves this offseason that really shaped the same way, or their team, rather, that shaped their team as much as the Nuggets made or shaped their team in their free agency pickups and the trade for Cameron Johnson. I think that Denver actually matches up a lot better this year. They have the depth at the big man position, which is something they couldn't match with Randall, Gobert, Naz Reid this past year, 2 years ago with Cat, Gobert, Jaden McDaniels, Kyle Anderson, all those bigger bodies down low, especially when it came to their defensive abilities and Denver's lack of offense off their bench. And I think that the one thing we continue to cover is those non-Jokic minutes are actually going to look good. Val is going to be a good, a good big, especially against a guy like Naz Reid off their bench, or I guess Jaden McDaniels, if they're going to play him at the 5, which I don't think they're really going to do. They're going to keep him at the 3. But I think that Denver finally matches up well with the Timberwolves, like I said, defensively, especially with the kind of defensive I guess unit and the defensive structure that David Adelman wants to run, that they're constantly rotating on defense, running different kinds of zones, different kinds of structures, and going into man here and there, and to see how we really match up with them. Who's going to guard Anthony Edwards? I know it's going to start out with Christian Brown, but maybe we see a switch up in the offense, and you see a guy like Bruce Brown starting in order to attempt to stop a guy like Anthony Edwards, or maybe Cam Johnson is finally going to take over that role, attempt to guard and Edwards. So I think it's going to be interesting, but I do like the slate. The only thing I would change of this slate doesn't even have to do with Denver. I would have made it Rockets, Warriors, Mavs, Lakers. I think that's a better matchup. I don't really understand the whole pairing of the Lakers and Rockets, I guess because it's the might be the LeBron retirement tour, and you have Kevin Durant on a new roster, so maybe that's why, but I don't really see the significance there for that kind of game. Now, I want to move over and I want to shift my attention to a couple of guys who are still free agents who I would love Denver to pick up. And the first guy is somebody I've been covering. And the reason I'm going to cover this is because it seems right now that Denver is going to be locked into their backup point guard being Bruce Brown. And I am going to have a couple episodes pre-recorded because I am leaving the country for a couple weeks. So I'm going to try to get as many episodes out for you guys as I can. And I'm going to do my player breakdowns, what I think players are going to average for Denver, what role they're going to have, in my opinion. And I'm going to cover Bruce Brown. Obviously, I'm going to cover Jalen Pickett as well. But I think they're set on those two guys being their backup point guards. And if they are, and they're not bringing in another primary ball handler, the first guy I want Denver to go out and get is a vet who can shoot. He's going to be a guy in probably a 1-year deal, and that is Alec Burks. Now, Alec Burks played in Miami last year. He played 49 games. He started 14. He played 17, right around 17 and a half minutes. And the big thing for me when I was looking at his stats, or looking back over his stats, was the fact that he was shooting 4 threes a game and shot 42% from the three-point line. League average last year was 36%. Bring him in. He would be amazing around a guy like Jokic and a guy like Val. Realistically, that guy, that's perfect for Denver. You need some spark off your bench. You have Tim Hardaway, you have Strother, and I know it sort of, it would sort of mess up the minutes there, but he's a vet. He's going to take a role in a team where he's going to take a little bit of a back seat now. And again, like I said, when it comes to development of your younger talent, Strother can learn from a guy like Burks. Burks was on a playoff team in New York. He's been on playoff teams throughout his career. He's a guy who's a legit scorer off the bench. Now, I know he didn't average that many points. He only averaged 7 points a game. He didn't do much defensively. Or when it came to the boards, he averaged 2.5 rebounds a game, 0.6 steals. So if you average that up, then he got 1 steal a game. I think he'd be perfect for Denver's bench. I think it's another guy who can come in and shoot the ball, shoot lights out for Denver if they're really looking for a guy to do that and they want to bring a guy in and sort of make Strother work for his minutes more than anything. And maybe we see Strother as a primary ball handler and you see Bruce's minutes split a little bit for that defensive unit. So first guy I would rather bring in if Denver's going to look at another scorer would be Alec Burks, because I think that he fits the perfect role for Denver's bench when it comes to scoring, especially if you need a lineup that can score to bring you back into a game. Now, the next guy I want to cover is another guy who's a cheap backup point guard option, and that is Landry Shamet. Now, I know Shamet's nothing special, but him and Javon Carter are actually two guys, since they've been drafted, I was actually very high on. I thought they were both pretty good. And Shamet's another guy. I mean, in the minutes he got, he didn't play many games this year. I mean, he played 50 games in total. He averaged 15.2 minutes per game. And then you look at what he was able to do. And another guy who can shoot the ball. I mean, this guy was letting it fly from three as well. Maybe not as efficient. He was averaging 3.1 three-point attempts per game, shooting just about 40% from three. Another guy who's super efficient. He was averaging 5.7 points per game. So I know it doesn't really have that big of an impact because he's a guy who's not playing a lot, but he's a seasoned vet. He's a guy who can come in when you need him to come in. We saw it with the Knicks in the playoffs. They were able to bring him in. He was able to come in, get some shots up, score a little bit if you needed him to, and he wasn't really rusty because he knows how to play. He's a seasoned vet in the NBA. He's a guy who can come in when Denver needs him, at least, because again, like I said, there's going to be teams and opponents who are going to double team Jamal Murray and sort of put the pressure on, because there's no secondary ball handler on Denver right now that's a legitimate, proven guy, and I think Shamet would be that kind of guy. I know he could play the 1 and 2, so I think that he would be a good guy for Denver to go out and get. And now the last two guys I want to cover, and I'm talking mostly point guards for the last two topics here, Shamet and the last two guys I want to cover are two guys who are semi-unrealistic now, and that is because they're most likely agreeing to deals with other teams, and that is Russ and Ben Simmons, obviously. Now, Ben Simmons a little bit less than Russ, but if there was one thing, Denver had they had the keys to win a championship last year, but not the roster to do so. I wish that Russ was on this team, because I think that this would be Russ's first championship, and that's fully in my opinion. I think that this would be the team that was able to get it done for Russell Westbrook in Denver. A lineup where he's actually on a bench unit. He doesn't have to run with the starters, and you have players that are able to play around him. Anyway, that is all I got for you guys today, Nuggets Nation. Like I said, I'm going to be pre-recording a lot of episodes, so if there are things that are not as updated, that is because I will be out of the country. I'm going to do my best to get some episodes while I'm out there as well. But thank you guys for watching. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, leave a comment if you guys want me to cover anything, and I will see you guys soon.